And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking the Miami Grand Prix Sprint Qualifying, where, surprise, surprise, Max Verstappen is on pole. This is just the practice times, though. So we'll get into that first. But well done, Verstappen, on pole. What a surprise. But it was potentially, in a way, and we'll explain that later. So Verstappen takes practice. Piastri really, really close to him as well. And Sainz, Russell, Stroll, Perez, Hamilton like 4/10 off. Russell was a lot closer with 2/10 to go. And yeah, I mean, even Ocon made the top 10. A really interesting practice where Mr. Charles Leclerc, we need to look for Leclerc all the way down in last, 3.5 seconds off 3 laps completed simply because he took a spin. He couldn't do a 3-point turn and his clutch wore out. I mean, he was more Ricardo Ross at Monaco 1998 than Charles Leclerc 2024, but I digress because in the end, he didn't do too bad in qualifying, did he? So let's have a look quickly at those qualifying results. So, thanks to the Formula1.com website, we've got Verstappen on pole, Leclerc next to him. We've got Perez in third, Ricciardo fourth, Sainz fifth, Piastri sixth, Stroll is in seventh. Stroll significantly out-qualifying Fernando Alonso. What? I mean, what? To be fair, that's exactly what Lance Stroll needed. And also to say sorry. And Ricciardo up in fourth. Norris in ninth. Hulkenberg 10th. Norris, I mean, what could have been? Yeah, he was more choke Norris than Lando Norris today. Again, making a mistake. But to be fair to him, the tyres on the McLaren, he probably wouldn't have got pole. But bearing in mind, Piastri did end up finishing sixth. And Norris was a good, it felt, once he got his rhythm together, he was faster than Piastri. 11th and 12th were the Mercedes. What? Didn't even make it in the Q3. Not one Mercedes. And to be fair, it didn't even look like when you looked at Q2 they were gonna make it towards the end. It was just a shambles. 13th is Ocon, 14th Magnussen, 15th Tsunoda, 16th Gasly, 17th Zhou, Bottas, Sargent, and Albon. That's to round up the top 20. But what is significant about that? Bottas, Sargent, Albon last. Logan Sargent, the man who we'll get into, may well be his last weekend in Formula One. So his last home race hurrah. I don't think it will be, but we'll get into that as well. But before we do that, let's get into our winners and losers of the Miami Sprint Qualifying. So, I mean, once again, a loser, you got to say, Alex Albon, out-qualified by the slightly less talented, maybe slightly, Logan Sargent. What on earth is going on, Alex? Very, very unimpressed. Not good at all. Not good at all. However, let's look at a winner. This man here in the top 10 again, Nico Hulkenberg. The man has signed with Audi, basically Stake F1 Sauber, whatever you want to call him. But Nico Hulkenberg in that top 10. Absolutely well done. Well done, Nicky. Well done, Nico. For me, the star of qualifying, though, is this man here, Daniel Ricciardo. The pressure was on. He needed to put a lap in to get out of Q3 at one point, and he did. And, I mean, he's out-qualified. Tsunoda is 15th. Daniel Ricciardo, 4th. Tsunoda 15th. Ricciardo 4th. I mean, whoa. That's one for the books, isn't it? Is Danny back? Is this new chassis? Was it the key to unlocking Daniel Ricciardo's potential? Is this Daniel Ricciardo 2014, 10 years on, back again? I most certainly hope so. Well done, Danny Rick. That's the high fives all around. I was so happy and relieved. I was really disappointed in Mr. Yuki Tsunoda, though, because Tsunoda, no. Tsunoda's getting a thumbs down. Not good at all. What are you thinking about Yuki Tsunoda? Why? I mean, you were doing so good. What has happened? How the mighty have fallen. But Verstappen on pole, yeah, absolutely well done, Max. You did your job, well done. But also, I'd like to think, I can't really call him a winner because he embarrassed himself in practice doing his Ricardo Rosset moves, but Leclerc, not bad Charles Leclerc. I thought that was fairly solid from him. Bear in mind, only 3 laps in practice and pumps it up into second. We're talking, what, just over a 10th off? But then you start to think, this is why I can't call him an overall winner, Coulda, woulda, shoulda. What could have happened? What could have happened, Charles Leclerc? Had you finished the practice, got a few laps in, could you have got pole? But I think second, to be fair, is not bad at all. But here we go. So, Lewis Hamilton, absolute shocker. 11th and 12th. So 12th for Lewis Hamilton and 11th for George Russell. I mean, what? I was really shocked at that. Mercedes' worst qualifying, I think, of the year so far. Worst qualifying for quite a while. Despite, obviously, these upgrades, they haven't got their head around it. They're looking kind of embarrassed. I would just not say anything. I wouldn't even tell you when I'm doing upgrades at this point. Massively disappointing there. I mean, there's pretty much what I feel is most of your winners and your losers. I mean, special mention to Lance Stroll. It takes something to out-qualify Fernando Alonso, but then, Lance Stroll can do no wrong, according to Lance Stroll, who apparently doesn't like apologising to Daniel Ricciardo. I mean, I keep going on about that, I know, but I think it's really terrible when it was obviously his fault. I mean, both Aston Martin and Lance Stroll have provided zero evidence suggesting that it is not their fault. So there we go. Absolutely. I mean, what are you gonna do? So let's get into our first news story about Logan Sargeant. Could this be his last race? Well, people reporting that Mercedes junior Kimi Antonelli is eligible for a super license later this year, but the FIA they've received a request from an early dispensation to be made. Why a request? Well, he's 17. For a super license, you need to be 18, and there is a precedent. Max Verstappen. So he stepped up, as in Kimi, in Formula 2 this season. And he's turning 18 in August this year. The youngest any driver can be granted, as we just said, is 18. So Antonelli, he's racked up enough points through his championship victories in multiple F4 and other Formula regional stuff, for example. F4. But he can't be granted a super license because of his age. He can't even drink over here. You can't even drink in America. It's 21, isn't it, still? But PlanetF1.com, it says, understands that a dispensation request has been logged with the FIA. And they're understood to be investigating the possibility of granting such dispensation, which could mean, could Logan Sargeant be gone as early as Imola? Imola? What country is that? Italy. Where is Kimi Antonelli from? Italy. Oh, okay. Maybe. But the team has lodged the dispensation request. It's not... has not been confirmed, but PlanetF1.com understands it has not been made by Mercedes, the team for whom he tested. Antonelli's highest... It's not been made by, PlanetF1.com understands it has not been made by Mercedes. No, they did say that. So Antonelli's highest place finish in Formula 2 so far is 4th. So it's been solid, but not like... next level great. But he's been closely linked with the vacant cockpit at Mercedes as Lewis Hamilton's departing for pastures new, for pastures red, with Antonelli seen as a Max Verstappen-esque in his pre-F1 abilities, but he remains a major risk given his unproven track record in the higher categories. I mean, we all remember Max was a really solid talent, but he did make plenty of mistakes when he began, as you would as a rookie. But one avenue is going to Williams for Antonelli in place of Logan Sargeant, with the American failing to show, let's be fair, any signs of improvement. It says here, matching or beating Alex Albon, which, funnily enough, he just did in Miami qualifying for the first time ever. Sargeant was forced to hand over, as we know, his intact chassis in Australia when Alex Albon did a whoopsie, and a move which could be viewed, was to be fair, viewed by many as indicative of the team not having faith in him. Oh, oops. And last but not least, Charles Leclerc, after completing just 3 laps, spinning at turn 16, doing a Rosset, came back and did an Austin Powers. Having been a prolific qualifier for his career, he's one of the best qualifiers, many people think, one of the fastest over one lap, 23 pole positions. Leclerc admitted he was struggling to find the right window to get the tyres in qualifying. That was a struggle. Carlos Sainz was not dominating him, but showing him his boss very much. But Leclerc qualified 7th, for example, for the Chinese Sprint, and 6th for the Chinese Grand Prix. Now, when asked if he was relieved about his Miami Sprint qualifying, he said, "I am, because qualifying has been a weak point for 2 races in a row. At one point in China, it was a little bit better, but we didn't have the car to actually show that. On such a difficult weekend," he said, "I had 1 lap in practice and go straight into quali, go straight away, flat out. We were also allowed to use 1 set of tyres So it was very, very tricky. But straight away, he said I felt the feeling that the hard work that I've done earlier in the season to try and put the tyres in the right windows paid off. So I'm happy. There are so many talks now. You are only as good as your last race in the sport. And yeah, the sad thing is the fickle media, including like the YouTubers and everything. Yeah, I'd probably put myself in there as well. Yeah, I mean, you are as good as your last race. So when you have 2 races in a row, Leclerc says, where you are bad in qualifying and haven't done a great job, people start to talk. So it is good to stop that. Now we need to work on the consistency and try to stay at that level and put those tyres consistently in the right window, as I have done in the past. Well done, Charlie Leclerc. Thank you very much. This has been the hot lap, I believe. Yes, it has. I'm just double checking. Like and subscribe. If you made it to the end, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for all the Miami action. We'll be back after the sprint race to tell you, well, a sprint race and quali. So it's going to be sometime on Saturday evening. It's currently midnight at the moment at the time of recording. So if you do watch this, massive thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon.